Hello, and welcome to our budget information session. My name is Norberto Delgadillo, and I am Portland Public Schools Chief Financial Officer. And for today, we have three goals. Our first goal for the presentation is to cover some basic budget information. We will stay at the 30,000-foot view. So what does that mean? It means that by no means do we expect you to become a school finance expert. Our goal is to share some high-level and general information on our budget, but then also share additional budget resources. Second goal is to spend time sharing information on our key investments that support our strategic plan and board goals. You can think about this portion of the presentation as the what and why are we investing in specific initiatives. And then our final goal for today is to collect feedback. Your feedback will help inform investment planning over the next few years, including preparing for the Oregon Department of Education, also known as ODE, so Oregon Department of Education's Aligning for Student Success initiative. So let's talk about the budget. This information represents the overall budget cycle. Although phases of this cycle may vary year to year, for the most part, it tends to be consistent due to Oregon local budget law. The best way to think about the budget is that it is an annual plan describing the district's finances and investments for the entire fiscal year. The fiscal year overlaps the school year, so it starts July 1st and ends June 30th. The budget process starts with gathering enrollment and forecast data, and subsequently moves into the budget planning stage, engaging with groups within the district and in the community to gather inputs to help inform how best to align our resources. And when we say resources, we're talking about people, time, and money to meet the desired student outcomes. Eventually, in late spring, the school board takes actions. They receive the superintendent's proposed budget. The board then approves the budget and subsequently adopts the budget. After the budget is adopted, it is implemented and monitored. The total budget consists of 5 major funds. And this is important to understand because all of these funds have specific activities related to them. All of the funds combined make up a total of approximately $1.9 billion. And again, it's important to note how some of these funds are broken into because about half of the budget is restricted to activities that can't support day-to-day activities. So when we think about teacher salaries, when we think about paying for transportation, there's certain portions that cannot be used for that. For example, capital projects and debt service funds. The yellow portion of the pie represents dollars for construction and renovation of school facilities, tech, curriculum, and also the tax collections to pay those bonds back. It's a total of about $760 million. Subsequently, the internal service fund serves as a self-insurance fund for workers' compensation and other insurance needs, and that's currently $8.6 million. The red slice of the pie is the special revenue fund. It's comprised of several restricted programs. This includes student investment account dollars. You might have heard of the term SIA. Includes high school success dollars, which is another state grant, federal COVID relief dollars, also known as ESSER, and other federal funded programs like title programs, and also our nutrition programs. All of those funds are part of the special revenue fund, that red slice. Lastly, the general fund, the blue slice, is approximately $804 million. It is a primary source of dollars used for day-to-day operations of the district and includes funds such as local option levy, arts tax, the fund balance, which is essentially a best way of thinking about it is the district saving account. All of these different funds come together to create our budget. Now, another component of our budget is essentially the general distribution of our teams. So when we start thinking about the various teams across our district, we've categorized them on this chart into 4 categories. And categorizing our teams from the perspective of how they support our staff and students helps to highlight the critical role they play in contributing to our district's success. These percents take into account both the general fund and the special revenue fund. So this includes the local option levy, this includes student SIA, Measure 98, ESSER, COVID relief fund. So it includes the bulk of a lot of the funding that supports our day-to-day activities. So for example, student direct supports, such as teachers, counselors, principals, as examples, represent about 76% of our workforce. The second category of support and enhanced instruction is about 6%. The next category of facility and student operational supports, which includes colleagues such as custodians, bus drivers, makes up about 13% of the workforce. And then the last category on this chart, management and business operations, such as team members in payroll, IT, and HR, represent about 5%. And so we have several hundred pages of additional information, and I would welcome you to visit our budget page. There you can access more detailed information on the district budget, which is represented across 2 budget books. In addition, we also have another video on the site with more information on how the budget works, plus a few other resources. So I would encourage you to scan that code or visit us on our website to learn more about our budget. So now let's spend some time getting familiar with our strategic plan, board goals, and key investments. This is the district's vision. So a graduate of Portland Public Schools will be a compassionate, critical thinker, able to collaborate and solve problems, and be prepared to lead a more social just world. The vision is what we expect our future to be. This is what we are working towards too. While our theory of action, if we braid racial equity and social justice strategies into our instructional core work with our students, teachers, and content, and build our organizational culture and capacity to create a strong foundation to support every student, then we will reimagine Portland Public Schools to ensure every student, especially our Black and Native American students who experience the greatest barriers, realize the vision of the graduate portrait. So a theory of action is what we believe will happen when a set of strategies are implemented. It is a set of underlying actions about how we will move the organization from its current state to its desired future state. This is how we expect to reach our vision. And within our strategic plan, there are goals and outcomes. Although we don't have unlimited resources, our strategic plan Forward Together helps to guide and prioritize our investments. You can access more detailed information by scanning the QR code or visiting us at pps.net/forwardtogether. And it's also important to note that our plan Forward Together was developed in partnership with the community after countless and several engagements. And it was a partnership to develop the plan that helps put our North Star into action. The quality and stability of our district are rooted in good long-term planning, trust, and community partnerships. This is why we brought our community and our organizational partners together to define a comprehensive shared vision, which was PPS Reimagined, and to develop the strategic plan that guides us. At the very heart of the plan is our graduate portrait. Together, we've pledged that Portland Public Schools will graduate compassionate, critical thinkers who are able to collaborate to solve problems and lead a more socially just world. Together, we've pledged to center student voices and our shared commitment to racial equity and social justice and doing right by Black, Native American, and students of color. So what does this look like in practice? A few slides ago, I shared a neatly organized pie chart defining the 5 major funds. But when you dig a little deeper, there are several funding sources. And so we work to piece them together into a cohesive plan to support our district's community. We've categorized our investments into 5 categories: address unfinished learning, increase learning opportunities, provide high quality emotional, mental health, and wraparound services, create more time for educators to plan, collaborate, and prepare, and make meaningful progress on our community's top priorities. Of course, all of this funding also supports our pre-K to 12 core operations. Our federal and state partners have provided several distinct funding sources. And you can see all the different circles here. But seeing them as distinct would not be strategic. It would not be in the service of our shared commitments to racial equity and academic excellence. So we've worked quite intentionally to maximize those investments by aligning them. Our strategic plan and the Oregon Department of Education's emphasis on aligning several key funding streams into a cohesive plan for student success have strong alignment. In this diagram, which is a diagram that was established by the Oregon Department of Education, it identifies several key strategies. And when we've engaged with our community during PPS Reimagine and during the development of our student investment account, our SIA plan, our community identified key areas as being important. And so we've built off of that feedback to identify key investments to achieve the PPS graduate portrait. The graduate portrait remains our North Star. We want all PPS graduates to be compassionate and critical thinkers who can collaborate and problem solve in order to leave the world more socially just than they found it. And among the 9 essential dispositions of the graduate portrait is inquisitive critical thinkers with deep knowledge. Within this disposition, students demonstrate mastery of core academic knowledge and skills. Through exploration of a range of disciplines, whether it's science, social studies, math, literature, arts, and athletics, students emerge with fundamental skills in literacy, reading, writing, speaking, and listening, and mathematics and critical thinking. And as such, the board has adopted a set of academic benchmarks. Think of them as temperature checks along the pre-K to 12 continuum that will allow us, in part, to monitor every student's progress towards realizing the promise of the graduate portrait. So there's a lot of information here, but I think this is important to understand because it helps to establish the goals and the direction in which we go. This table shows the board goals for narrowing or eliminating the achievement gap among our different student groups. That is, what gains will be required to reach the academic outcomes of their white counterparts. Since different student groups have differential achievement, each student group will have its own yearly targets to map a trajectory of halving the gap over the next 5 years. So the table shows percentage point gains that we need to be achieved each year for the next 5 years in order to either narrow or close the gaps in student performance. Here you can see how we're aligning resources to accelerate equitable student learning. How are we going to achieve these goals? And these are some of the key initiatives that we've identified. As we emerge from distance learning and face a world filled with significant social, economic, and environmental pressures, we've continued to make direct student services and support a top priority. This includes investing in new learning support staff to target specific student groups needing learning acceleration. It includes culturally specific services. It includes whole child support, like increased investments in mental and behavioral health, counseling, and social work. We've made significant investments in professional development so that our educators and school leaders receive the training they need to better teach and support all of our students. And it includes meeting our students where they are and offering diverse pathways to academic growth and achievement. As we consider supports for our students who've been historically marginalized and overlay that with our community engagement, with research-based practices, our board goals and investment categories, these are the key areas we've been focusing on. And as you can see, there are several levers being pulled to achieve this. It takes a combination of efforts to help make change happen. As we begin preparations, not just for next year's budget, but also for the long-term investments, whether to reinforce our alignment to the state's student success plan, or to help inform prioritization of important initiatives to meet our board goals, we'd like to request your feedback by completing a survey. If you scan the QR code, you can complete the survey. You should have access to the survey. As we build the district's investment plan for the next few years and continue to engage various groups to inform how we organize our limited resources, it's important for you to take this survey and provide feedback. We would greatly appreciate you taking the time, as it's going to help with how we design and inform and have conversations that will be ongoing, not just for the short term, but for long-term sustainability as well. Lastly, here are a few resources that you can access, including signing up to receive future information on PPS engagement updates. There's a few additional links to our webpage, in addition to a more detailed explanation of our board goals. Thank you for your time.